If you've been looking for a protein muffin that tastes more like a cupcake, then you're in the right place. These are low carb, made with almond flour, and they've become a staple for me because they taste amazing and they satisfy my sweet tooth. So let me show you how I make them. So we're going to start these off with 1.5 cups of almond flour, and we're going to put this directly into the sifter. It's a good idea to sift almond flour because it has the clumps and the lumps, and it's going to make for a finer texture on your muffin. We're going to follow that up with a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder and a 1/2 cup of protein powder. Now on protein powder, I really like the PE Science brand of protein powder because it is a mix of whey and casein. Whey protein powder tends to make baked goods too dry. Casein tends to make it too soggy. So the mixture of the two gives the perfect texture to your muffins. And the flavor on this one is pretty awesome too. So we're going to follow this up with 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Oops. And a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then just a pinch of salt. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and sift this all together into the bowl. So for the wet ingredients, I usually like to use the little smoothie blender for them because it mixes everything up really nicely and it's super easy to wash when you just throw this in the dishwasher. So we will start with 2 eggs. All right. And then we have 2/3 cup of Greek yogurt. All right. We have a 1/2 cup of applesauce. Now the applesauce is really good at adding moisture without adding extra fat. So I really like using the applesauce in my muffins. We're also going to add 1/3 cup of agave. Now, I like agave because it has a low glycemic impact because I have hypoglycemia. I have also made these with honey and with maple syrup. Both work just as well. I also make them with stevia when I'm trying to reduce the calories, and it sweetens it very nicely. You just have to use less stevia than you do on the agave. So I will be dropping this recipe down in the description, and it includes all of the notes for you, so you won't have to write any of this down. All right, and then the last thing we're going to add here is a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we'll just mix this up really good. Super quick and easy. All right, so with the muffins, I like to just stir this in until it is just moistened. You don't want to over mix it because then your muffins will get more dense and they get kind of chewy. So we're just going to pour this in here and then just mix it and stir it until it's just combined. So I have lined my muffin pan with these parchment papers. And if you're new to baking with almond flour, you're definitely going to want to use parchments to line your paper with rather than the regular cupcake muffins because they will stick to that and they don't cook right. They get kind of soggy. Not sure why, but these are excellent. I get these off of Amazon and I'll also link them down below in the description. But you get like 200 pretty cheap. So I have put 9 of them in my pan because I like a larger dessert sized muffin, but you can certainly, do the standard 2/3 full and get your 12 muffins out of this. So you're going to want to let this sit on the counter for about 5 to 10 minutes before you pop them in the oven to give the almond flour a chance to absorb all of that moisture. And then that way you'll have a more cake-like muffin when it's done baking. I like to put these in the oven at 350 degrees and then I turn it down to 325 immediately following putting them in the oven. And they tend to cook better and cook fully. Sometimes if I leave it at 350, it's really hard to get the centers done. So I have found that if I turn it down to the 325, then the centers get fully done without the rest of the muffin getting overbaked. So let's put these in the oven for 20 minutes. Chocolate muffins, fresh out the oven. I'm going to let these cool for about 30 minutes here on the countertop, and then I'm going to store them for about 5 days, if they last that long, in the fridge. You can store them longer in the freezer. Typically when I do that, I'll wrap them up in parchment paper and then put them out the night before in the refrigerator and let them thaw overnight. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you do, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching this video.